Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world today. We're getting started with our Final Fantasy 14 stream today. And thank you, Allie. Appreciate the comment there. Let's see. Want to know how everybody else is doing? If you want to let us know down in the chat, please do so. Of course, if you just prefer to lurk and enjoy the atmosphere and the game with us, we'd be happy to have you here doing that as well. So how are you doing this morning, Allie? Let's see. We'll go ahead and get our scenes changed over here. Uh-oh, it's not picking up the game, is it? There we go. Got it. Well, we're finally getting started with Endwalker today. Yesterday we finished up the stories at the Crystarium for our crafters and gatherers. Oh, cool. Just editing a video, having a nice quiet early morning. Yeah, that reminds me, I still need to edit a video too myself. I'll maybe do that later today. I'm doing fine. Yeah. We'll get playing here in just a little bit, but yeah, I've been really busy, of course. You know, since we hit the affiliate mark, I've been trying to figure out things that I can put on this channel and things that can engage folks. Everything I put on here is free now. I think there maybe just costs some. If we've got some channel point stuff that's available, we've got some overlays, I guess, some stickers and some other goodies there. Still trying to get the Streamlabs loyalty points thing working. I tried something else yesterday, so we'll see if that is working or not today. And let's see. No, looks like it's probably still not working today. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know what I've done wrong with that. So anyways, let's see, we got Endwalker going. We're here in Limsa Lominsa, where we're ready to get on with the story, speaking with Tataru here. Yeah, things have been doing good. Yeah, thank you for the congrats. I appreciate that, Allie. You and RKO have been instrumental in helping me along here, and I certainly appreciate that. Can't express my gratitude enough, I'm afraid. It's just almost overwhelming that I was able to get to this point. It just seems so strange. But yeah, here I am, and thank you so much for your part in all of this, too. And I've decided for the, at least for the first part of Endwalker, I'm going to play as Dancer, and I may just go all the way through as Dancer since I've got, let's see, Reapers got up to level 84 by the end of Shadowbringers. Oh, well, thank you for that, Allie. I appreciate it. I enjoy your all's company very, very much, too. I've got my Reaper at 84 by the end of Shadowbringers, and I suspect Dancer will level up evenly as we go through the story. So as long as we don't fall short of experience needed to move the story along, I'm just going to probably stick with Dancer, because I've been enjoying that job quite a bit. So we'll do that. We've got our Reaper on reserve in case we wanted to do some of it as Reaper too. Well, that's cool. I didn't have to give him a ticket there or anything before I passed through. Everyone's here, which is good because I've already paid for your passage and the fee is non-refundable. The ship for Charlian should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand. I keep everything in my back pocket. It's so big.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule, or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louisois of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just, we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
No sense worrying about the things we're powerless to change.
Well, that's hardly comforting.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori! Coulternay! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Charlian!
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Here. Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Why now, Heidelin?
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Heidelin has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms, monumental, which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlayan's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go! Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlayan.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian saith. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlayan proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
Sharlayan, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Ala Megan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next, then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlayan all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlayan only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders, especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we? Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahat here of the Students of Baldesion at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows. That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
An adventurer, artisan.
Indeed. Your profile describes you as an adventurer, but one also trained in the rather more constructive pursuits of procurement and production. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valino, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formally, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
If you'll allow me... My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldesion, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Croyle! It is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you all seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Well, we have finally arrived. So, let's see here. Just gonna adjust some things here. Excuse me. Alrighty. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. What are we getting here? High level 515. Cool. That would be an improvement, wouldn't it? Unless, what was that? Weapon coffer? Okay. Our weapon is, oh, our weapon is already 530. What's our Reaper weapon at? Oh yeah, we'll do it for Reaper, I guess. There we go, bumps the eye level for them by a little bit. And we'll be getting chest gear for 515. I had thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Anne and Estinian's first time in Sharlayan, and for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you all may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldessian Annex. How does that sound? It is a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Leveilleur estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. I am equally untethered, as it were. There is no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Aetheryte Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith, by thy leave. What of you, Estinian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. But I could... Oh. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Oh, of course, if you will have me. Come, Anne, Charlian awaits. After you, my friend, I am more than content to follow your lead. He's now accompanying me. All set? Then let us be on our way. Our first stop, amusingly enough, will be the Last Stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. So they're accompanying us and they're telling us about the special locations along our route here. We can look at some side chatter if we would like. All right, so first stop, well, let's go ahead and attune to this first shard here. Discuss the giant statue in the harbor. There's a giant statue somewhere here. I guess I can't look at it this way. Now that is a sight one could hardly forget. The great statue of Thaliak. As a student of Baldessian, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. There it is. There's the big statue. What about you, Kryl? What does she have to say about it? This path leading out towards the sea is known as the Thaliak Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Sharlayan people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Thaliak was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, an alignment of principles, as it were. We may have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ishgardians. Individual Sharlayans can, and do, worship the divinities of their choosing. All right, well, that was interesting there. And here we are, the Last Stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Sharlayan tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. Ah, hello, hello. How are you today, legend? how can I put this? The food is, it's bland. And as encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf, the prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Charlian, the one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, I hope we do have a good time here. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. Because you were a typical Charlian when it came to cheap and convenient, Raha, but surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe there will take us up to the Aetheryte Plaza. Sounds like a plan. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, that it's a perfectly functioning aetheryte. Remember to attune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Charlian stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of Allagan Aetherites, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Charlian's largest marketplace. And let's see, we'll have to overwrite one. That's foundation, I guess. Be a good one. And let's see what's being said over here. Speaking of Aetherites, those teleportation fees do add up after a while, which is why I tended to rely on the far cheaper ferry services. I was pleasantly surprised when Mistress Tataru informed me that the Scions are reimbursed for transportation costs as part of our duties, but I find old habits hard to break. That, and I'd rather not be bothered filling out the necessary paperwork. That's the entrance to the Confluence. I have no doubt their expertise will prove useful at some point, so I suggest you remember the way here. All right. There's another one. Let's see. Bookstalls. Do you mind if I browse the shelves for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment? How optimistic. Feel free to browse all you like, but we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return here later then. These little open-air bookstalls are so uniquely Sharlayan. I'd always thought them a common sight until I visited other nations. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Sharlayan as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out, for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aetheryte Plaza, follow the path north, then climb the stairs up to that imposing building at the very top. Or we could just go this way, I guess, too. And we'll see what's here along the way. Discuss the water features. These little decorative features are typical of Sharlayan architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Vow were rather simple and rustic by comparison. Hey, Blitz! Blitz doing good here. Thanks for asking. How about yourself? This is the Nymphaeum, an area dedicated to the blessings of water. Not too bad, just hanging out. Well, cool. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, we finally finished up Shadowbringers yesterday, so getting started with the Endwalker phase of the game now. For Sharlayans, water represents more than a life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the great flood which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Thaliac's divine Ewer. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city, and a propensity for utilizing water as a decorative feature in our architecture. Yeah, I gotta remember as dancer, I've got Peloton I can use too. And here we are. This grand structure before you is the Rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here, one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my arrival in the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Sharlayan. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community. The Crystarium, I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the counselors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. But first I will attune to this Ethernet shard. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Archon Njungkrep built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Sharlayan families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from House Levelier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Sharlayan tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an enlightening and entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aetheryte Plaza? Correct. After you, Anne. Okay, let's pick up some stuff along the way then. Sharlayan is full of educational and research institutions, but there are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended the exclusive schools they run in these residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. Right, we crossed this bridge here as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful not to end up back in the Aetheryte Plaza. And let's go ahead and tune to this. As the joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldessian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon, but I think we've explored enough for one day. We can take you there another time. Inside with you, then. Excuse me. I'm back, and I brought Anne and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship then. Hello, Graha. It's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Anne. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ojika? Ojika Sunjika? It has been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika Tsunjika, Administration Officer for the students of Baldessian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. The Champion of Eorzea has featured prominently in Kryl and Graha's reports, so for me, this is akin to seeing a fabled hero come to life. It is an honor to make your acquaintance. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Sharlayan. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the Isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. And yet, it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure that the Talaferoi fall. Through that door on the left, there is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Andron, so please, feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap rooms. Perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed. Far more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. It was simply that we were often so busy with research, or exhausted from journeys abroad, that we would slip into the Andron just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chambers. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. So that's where we're headed, is the main hall. Feeling refreshed and alert? Our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Talaferoi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nidana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal. In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnairian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts.
No problem.
You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Of course! The more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair. Thoughts? objections?
I passed through Thavnir on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
All right, what was that? That was eye level 515. Yeah, that would be an update on this chess piece here. What about our Reaper? We're at 505 on Dancer. And just 500 on Reaper. I better... I don't know. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put it on Reaper, I guess. And that'll give us some foot gear. An unsettling change has come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the Forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the counselors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day, but now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside Numenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. What's that giving us? An Amra Lassi. Okay. I have Kryl's instructions in hand. If you're ready to set out, then so are we. Having been to Thavnir before, I can travel by Aetheryte, but what of the rest of you? Another sea voyage would waste time we do not have. Kryl was of the same mind and has already secured the aid of the good folk of the Confluence. We'll take ourselves there. The Confluence, thou sayest? I'm afraid so, my friend. Thou wilt recall the hunt for Iceheart, unto whose sanctuary we delivered thee, owing to the knowledge of our comrade Moonbreda. Moonbreda was an authority on etherology, a field of study she did embark upon in pursuit of her parents' example. Both are authorities in their own right, and both are researchers at the Confluence. Haven't you gone to see them yet? I attempted to do so earlier, but to my shame my courage failed me at the last. As it hath the many times I thought to reach out to them after sending that fateful letter. Neither time nor introspection have revealed unto me the words I should speak, and thus have I kept my silence. Whether you come with us or no is your choice and yours alone. If it is too difficult, we'll manage. Thou art kind to say so, but I have no intention of forsaking our cause. I shall go to the confluence, and I shall face that which hath long been overdue. If it's settled, then let us be off. When we arrive, we should look for a researcher named Kite. And I believe I will pursue Trials branch first here. Oh, we do have our hunts here. And, oh, and sightseeing too. Yeah, we'll want to... We've attuned ourselves to all the Ethernet shards now. That's good. Yeah, we'll want to go grab those quests too. Unlock sightseeing in this expansion and hunts. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numenon, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great Google Library pale in comparison to Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Ishtola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alice and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or forum policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it then, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading! Yeah, I'm gonna go grab those quests first. There'll be some sightseeing points that we'll run into along the way here. Do my eyes deceive me, or are you an adventurer? Well, as I live and breathe, it is you! Ha! I knew I'd be the first to track you down. Who's the guild ship's top hunter now, eh? Wait, you have heard of guild ship hunts, yes? They are not so different from the hunts you're familiar with in Eorzea, as I understand it. I'd wager they're rather more challenging, but an adventurer of your caliber would never turn down a challenge, would you? No, you would not. Pray, speak with Northada at the Peristyle to register your interest at your earliest convenience. Hi, I'm Northada. Have you come to place a bounty on an unruly beast? Actually, I come to hunt him down. Hi, the scholar. You're Anne. I was half convinced I'd set the others an impossible task asking them to find you. The Gleaners Guildship has begun posting hunt bills, you see, in the hopes that capable individuals will take up arms to lighten our ever-increasing load. Unfortunately, capable individuals remain the sticking point. Few hailing from our fair polis are willing to take up arms, let alone able to stand against the more fearsome specimens. You, however, have the experience and the grit that we need. When I heard that you had arrived on our shores, it was music to my ears. You needn't worry. You needn't work for free, of course. We've done our research, and the rewards we offer are as fine as any you'll find abroad. The currency we employ is a relic of times when Gleaner was a great deal less figurative, so you may find it somewhat eccentric, but it's as good as Gil here. Speaking of eccentric, it should be noted that the majority of our clients are scholars. You probably won't have heard of half the creatures they send you after, but I find it's best not to worry about that overmuch. Slay beasts, collect samples, try not to think about the long-term effects of touching said samples, and get paid. Simple, no? That being said, I wouldn't dream of throwing you in the deep end just yet. Let's have you start off with some junior marks so you can get your feet wet. Sounds like a plan. And the next one's available. Have to get to a certain point in the story, I guess. All right, we'll grab us some junior marks. And, oh, let's see here. Let's go ahead and unlock this. Oh, we don't need to unlock leave meats, I think. Let's see. Oh, yeah. What am I trying to say? The sightseeing unlocking is down here. Beg pardon, good madam. I could scarce help but notice that sightseeing log on your person. You wouldn't happen to be the adventurer my niece wrote about, would you? What are you, digging through my pockets or what? How did you see that thing? Aha, so it is you. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I am Babeth Ironheart, Millis aunt and seasoned explorer. Be a dear and hand me that log of yours. Millis told me all about how she helped you embark on explorations of your own, so it's only right that I share with you some wisdom of my own. Here you go. Let me see here. Oh, I can't forget to mention that. And done. You should be all set, dear. I've jotted down everything I've heard about the most remarkable vistas the realm has to offer. Of course, a few notes I've shared are not more than rumors, some describing locales so fantastical that I can barely believe they exist. But as I always say, the true joy of exploration lies not in the destination, but in the journey. So go forth, dear, and see what sort of journey these hints take you on. That sightseeing log of yours won't fill itself, you know. All right, we got them. All right, back to resume our main story then. There's one over there. Let's make that for Fisher. And let's see what books we find here. The Story of Sharlayan. Long, long ago, on an island in the northern sea, there lived a Rogadan man by the name of Nunkrep. Nunkrep was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nunkrep's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Nunkrep wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abelathia's spine. Oh, okay. So that's how that big ship got there in Stormblood, I guess. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nunkrep gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. Very interesting. And this is about Roads of Old, the colony. Many years ago, on the banks of the Thaliak in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idleshire. The following chapters go on to introduce the most prominent features of Idleshire. This book does not appear to contain additional information on the Forum or cover the history of the Sharlayan motherland in greater detail. So that was not a one we wanted then, I guess. The voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th astral area, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the Forum as we know it today conceived and created. And that was one that we wanted, it looks like. Yeah, I think maybe the last one is over here. Stewards of Wisdom. I don't know. Let's try it. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Yunkrep, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern empty, he instructed his people thus: "Renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason." The Sharlayans took to heart the words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founders' teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. You've gained a fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history and the foundation of the Forum. All right, that was it. And I guess it's time we just wait for a while here. Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final days specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate, plenty of comfortable places to read and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Sharlayan, we were not to be allowed access. We were not to be allowed across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the Forum will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day. I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family? Or do they not live here in the city? Ah, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlian, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilsabard, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thavnir. The Alligans founded a city in that fertile land and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Miqote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allagan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amanus. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allagan Eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Allag. As the last child born with the Allagan Eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldessian, who had me registered as a Charlian citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louisoix, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Charlians than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. Is exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Here, another good reason to get to the bottom of the Forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Anne. More company should be arriving any moment now. All right, so we will wait some more then. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Krile has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the Umbral Calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarot firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. Go ahead, ask away. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first. What kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? The worst kind of phenomena you can imagine. Well, that certainly is an accurate, if somewhat ambiguous impression. To expound upon that explanation, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Y'shtola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Ascians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? Alphino, you can answer this one. Me? Well, as you wish. The Amaratines were debating the cause of an anomaly which had been observed in the lands across the sea. By this fact alone, we can deduce that the final days occurred not all at once the world over, but rather had a point of origin from which it began to spread. Others also spoke of a keening sound rising from the land itself, just before a region was visited by catastrophe. We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. So, the ground was crying out, you say. To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of Numenon's mammoths and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? They knocked Dalamud from the sky. Surely you can't be serious. That was the 7th umbral calamity, hardly an event of the distant past. And even if Dalamud had existed at the time, bringing down a moon of any kind would surely only make things worse. The ancients summoned Zodiark in response to the final days. Many sacrificed themselves to bring him into being, with Elidibus serving as his heart. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiark, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones abandoned by the Primal. Or might have, had Vana and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Hydaelyn. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Y'shtola, but 'tis time we began studying these research papers. And we'll wait some more, it looks like. There's Y'shtola. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Garen oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Google Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason, then, that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Fortuneau with knowledge of the Telophoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior, it is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. You labor for what feels like an age as Y'shtola's research assistant. All right. Oh dear, you look exhausted, but what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? Yeah, I did find a few. Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. That's cool. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. And eye level 515 foot gear, which I will take. Ready for a tea break, Anne? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. All right, we will head to the last stand then. As busy as ever, I see. How very Charlian that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telophoroi. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Alice is now accompanying me. All right. Just making some notes here. What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Telophoroi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear, and... Wait, you're that House Levelier girl, aren't you? And this woman with you is obviously a foreigner. Huh. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. I'll thank you to leave me be. I've naught to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Anne. Yes? I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray, excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telophoroi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Levelier! My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortuno that I was helping you... I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Welcome, madam. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alice I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet, I don't know, Dick on, Dick off, I don't know. Meet Dickon, the owner of The Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion in between lessons at the studium. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? It's complicated. And I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Levelier. No matter how discreet Master Fortuno may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now of all times? We have questions, and only Charlian has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to find. Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlian, aren't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? I can do it. That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes needs to go. The tea set is for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The omelet is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisela. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see a Makot gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. All right, there, Master Dickon. Dickon! Dick off! Dick on, Dick off the dicker. All right. Let's go do our delivery then. The tea set. Oh, my tea set. Lovely. Thank you. The Tilafa who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Ah, finally, 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's dig in, no time to waste. What? The Talaferoy? Ah, yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The Forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. The final days? This is the first I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring items that we haven't got here in Charlian. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Talaferoy make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the Forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Yes, this should do nicely, out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Grahar said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to Numenon and I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back. Welcome back, Anne. Been for a walk and cleared your head, have you? Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the Gleaners. It makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo, it certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let's see what theory we can build from the facts. As Ishtola observed earlier, Numenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Anne and Alice learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Sharlayans know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Talafroi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. And if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. A fine idea. I'm glad you approve. You won't be disappointed, I promise. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help. Thank you, Raha. Let's head down the stairs over there and I'll show you where the entrance is. Ready? Labyrinthos is not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Follow Alice. All right. Off we go then. Don't guess I can follow, can I? Nope. A few steps, then wait, a few steps, then wait, a few steps, then wait. Alice, you're walking awfully damn slow. Now we run? Okay, let's see then. I've got that. Yep, across the bridge. Up here, okay, just go. Yep, not far, so just keep going. Come on. Yep, the ether net shard. We already been there. There we go. Here we are, through this door and down the stairs. You did remember to attune to the shard back there, didn't you? It will make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. We're all here now, yes? I've taken the liberty of securing permission for our group's descent. Right, everyone onto the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh. Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
Let's see here. All right, just checking on a few things here. All right, we got to talk to some folks, gather some information here, it looks like. You want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books, and ore, and fauna. If it needs hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthos. You know, sort and tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. They just did one a few summers ago, even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be that they're changing the layout, eh? Preparing for the next big expansion. Oh, we learn about taking stock in Labyrinthos. Oh, there's another sightseeing spot. Now let's do botanist here. Or, well, Fisher, probably. Stick with Fisher there since it's harder to get the experience for them there. Even though they are higher level. Let me think. The Rhea seeds should be item 1058, cumin seeds 1059, snurpleberry 1060, or were they 1061? Ah, my head feels like it's stuffed with moko grass. Why more loads to take out than carry in? Why do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Kurthan carrots for the Giravanian carrots? What then? Learn about large shipments coming in and out of Labyrinthos. You here to help or give me more headaches? Because you don't have the look of a gleaner and I'm in no mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have to pack them. Now I have a pack of marmots running loose. Learned about exhausted gleaners. Any luck, Anne? What tales did the gleaners have to tell? About taking stock, large shipments, and exhausted gleaners. So, this grand operation began without warning, and for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right, the Forum is definitely up to something, and they're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process. Alright, we can port outside now. Oh, we've got a hunt mark here in the zone too somewhere. We would do well to learn more of what specifically the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who has tasked them to do it. If you're game, Anne, I have an idea. Yep, tell me, Kryle. Didn't one of the Gleaners you questioned say something about escaped marmots? Perhaps if you were to help him capture said creatures, he might be inclined towards a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting! You wish to help me find the marmots. I'm nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I'd welcome the assistance. Yep, just leave it up to me, please. The name is Aaronville, friend, specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of these Naxian marmots is a trial I've no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call them. For mercy, there are no other marmot species on this tier at present, so there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in this sack. Gently, of course. Where to begin, you wonder? I've not seen any scampering around here, so we'll need to widen our search into the surrounding forest. Be on your guard. There are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a marmot, or you. I'll search the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. And we've got ether current somewhere out this way. The troll. Oh, there's a purple circle event point. Let's see, let's get our chocobo out. Chocobo's not getting experience for those. I guess main story monsters are not going to be helping us with that. Chirp, squeak. Ooh, and he runs away. Let's see, Mr. Troll, are you sound sensitive? Doesn't look like it. There's a mouse with another battle circle. Okay. Alrighty, let's do it then. Alright, grizzled mouse, come here. Whee! Yeah, use the sack on him. And he runs away again. There's an ether current back there. Try that sack again. Squeak, squeak! Haha, yeah, you can't run away this time. Alright, let's take the little squeaker back to Aaronville. You can run this way next time. Yeah, how about, you like popcorn, right? I think you like popcorn, is that right? We got popcorn. Popcorn. Oh, we like popcorn. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. Oh, we like popcorn. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. Popcorn. We like popcorn. Popcorn, 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 popcorn. Popcorn. Yeah, popcorn. Kind of interesting, huh? How did you fare? I tracked down 3 of the pack, which leaves 1 unaccounted for. Here's a squirming rat sack. Ah, there's the odd marmot out. Wait here a moment while I put our friends in a holding cage. Thankfully, the marmots seem to be unharmed. They've held up well in isolation, but it's much too soon to release them into the habitat. It's a good thing we were able to recapture them so swiftly. You have my thanks. What will you do with the marmots now? That's for the Forum to decide. They are the guiding authority behind Labyrinthus after all, and this job was but one small part of this great inventory of theirs. Suitable for consumption and easy to breed, those were the 2 conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. There you are, Anne. Is this the gleaner you mentioned? The one who was looking for lost marmots? Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk, anyway? I am Kryle of the Students of Baldesion. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the Forum's decisions of late have not sat entirely well with us. That is why we made the descent into Labyrinthus. We hoped that by seeing those decisions put into action, we might more fully understand their reasoning. Wise and practical. Never hurts to try and gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls, other animals to capture and enclosures to empty. Once again, I'm sorry that I can't offer you more for your services. Did you learn anything new from your friend there? So, we've confirmed that the order for this ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. I'd say that fits with everything we've heard thus far. We also discovered when the operation was begun. The Forum contacted the Gleaners Guild ship and put their people to this great work some 4 days after the Telophoroi made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners keep abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus am I inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, it gives the distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthus and its archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. And the Telophoroi's declaration was what set it all in motion? It seems likely, but let us not leap to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrinthus. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Archeon? From there, we can reach the lower... Uh-oh. Trial, what's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me with a bit of a headache, that's all. Nothing that will stop me from soldiering on. Let's be about it then. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the way to the Archeon. We follow the path east through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse, or marmot, was it? Anyway, 'tis the trolls you need to watch out for. Back out here to the east. Behold, the Archeon. As Numenon serves as Sharlayan's literary archive, so does this structure house the city's wealth of material data. The architecture, too, is similar. This building you see is merely the upper entrance, an access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as the detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archeon contains a physical history of Sharlayan's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. And some more gear, some headgear. Well, we won't learn anything of value standing out here. Let us proceed into the main building and speak with the custodian. Hello, Archeon Custodian. Greetings, we are here to peruse the Archeon's vaults. Peruse? You are clearly not gleaners then. Might I ask your affiliation? We belong to the students of Baldessian, but is that relevant? I was given to believe that the vaults, those open to the public at least, were open to the public. Ordinarily, yes, that would be the case. At present, however, access is restricted. Only persons directly involved in the reorganization efforts are permitted to enter. Not us, then. I suppose we had better move along to another facility. This building has a lift which connects to the middle tier, yes? Might we at least make use of that? Nope. That service has also been suspended, I'm afraid. For the time being, priority has been given over to the conveyance of inventory. What? So this is as far as we can go? I apologize for the inconvenience. Please come again after our restructuring operation is concluded. By that time, it will be too late, and we were so close to getting answers. We need to rethink our approach. Let us step outside for the moment, shall we? Students of Baldessian. Huh. We are at an impasse. As we have no other leads, I should like to pursue this one further. But I doubt that our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by heartfelt pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. It is likely that the people in this area are involved in the restructuring in one way or another. If we were to ingratiate ourselves, they might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let us ask around. Surely someone is in need of a few strong backs to lighten the load. All right, well, let's talk to some folks then. Catbird. Catbird the chatbot. What's that? Take you down on the lift with me? Sorry, but not a chance. I've been up and down all day, and only now have I finally found a spare moment to rest. I did see a gleaner fellow heading out the gate there, though, shouldering a large pack, engaged in some manner of task. Maybe he'll be headed down below after he's done with whatever it is he's doing. There's the other one. Am I taking the lift? Oh no, we're just students. They won't let us into the Archeon, even though we found... Actually, we have no idea what it is we found. There's no record of such a creature anywhere, but it was wandering around Tranquility, and so we thought to donate it to the vaults. Squeal, squeal! Oddest little squeal, don't you think? Anyway, I suppose we'll have to take care of it until the Archeon is opened again. So we'll go and search for that pack-bearing gleaner. See, are there any other ether currents near here? Yeah, possibly to the south, but we'll run into that, I guess, later. Hey, it's Aaronville again. Quiet, you'll frighten it away. Ah, it's you again. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in the middle of another task. The cloudkin I need to capture is close. Very close. You wish to help me with this too? You spend your time in unusual ways, my friend. Still, 2 hunters are generally better than 1. Very well. The canal here is a common gathering spot for birds of all kinds, but the one I'm after today is the hornbill. Its feathers are green and its cry a distinctive caw. Single it out and shoot it with this sleeping dart. The effects are short-lived, so I'll lie in wait down by the riverbank to claim our quarry. Be sure to hit the right one. Alright, search our surroundings and find the hornbill, the one that says caw. Caw. See which one's talking. That one's saying caw caw. That one's saying caw caw. That one's green. Yep. Hit the right bird with the dart. Sleep, little bird, sleep. We did it.
Fair shot. Nicely done. Let me truss this one up and I'll make my way over to you.
There you are. Any new revelations?
Well, I shot a bird with a dart, sleeping dart.
So you met with that gleaner again, this time to capture a hornbill.
Yep,
I
that's the
understand
story.
catching and bringing in creatures from the outside, but what's the point of chasing after ones already here?
Oh, it's a simple thing, really. Occasionally, we remove specimens no longer needed for study, or those we've had difficulty raising. But we can't simply turn them loose. Safely returning such creatures to their native habitats is another facet of a cleaner's duties. But not in this case, I'm afraid. I've been asked to bring the bird below.
The restricted section in the lower levels of Labyrinthos. Open only to a select few researchers handpicked by the Forum. The projects down there are the subject of rumor and hearsay. Forbidden magics. Advanced technologies that can never be allowed to fall into outside hands. Even Archons are not privy to the truth. Those who are, the researchers involved in this secretive work, are not permitted to walk freely in the city, and are instead required to live in isolated quarters.
What could a facility subject to such strict security protocols possibly need with a hornbill? An experiment?
Possibly. I wasn't afforded an explanation. But judging by the requisition list given to me and my colleagues, I doubt it's for any kind of advanced research. I'd be more inclined to believe we were making preparations to migrate to the south. Mericidia or thereabouts.
What? Why would you say that?
Much of the flora and fauna we were asked to procure could serve as reliable sources of sustenance. They're comparatively hardy species, too, able to endure harsh climates. And among them are specimens known to be effective in improving soil quality and purifying water.
When you put it that way, migration does sound like a reasonable assumption.
That's all it is, though. An assumption. Through our tasks, we gleaners glimpse only bits and pieces of the Forum's plans. Our prime concern is that our requisitions, be they living or otherwise, are properly preserved for the knowledge of future generations. Now, I really must be going. I regret that I cannot reward you as you deserve.
Perhaps you might reward us after a fashion, then. It is imperative that we reach the lower levels. And seeing as you are already set to descend with your assigned cargo, mayhap we could accompany you as your assistants.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. Once the animals have been prepared for transport, we send them down separately via the lift. I will of course follow after to make my report, but I can hardly pass you off as porters when there's nothing left to carry.
Indeed. Pray forget I said anything.
How do you feel about climbing? If you've strength and the courage to brave it, then there is another way down. This path leads to the 33rd facet, a mine shaft excavated during one of our expansions of Labyrinthos. While I cannot guarantee that the passage is safe to traverse, it should provide access to the medial circuit below.
I never even knew such a place existed. Thank you. This is the perfect solution.
You're quite welcome, but consider yourselves warned. If the going proves too treacherous, you do well to turn back. I bid you good day.
Well, turning back is hardly an option, not when we've come this far. Let's go and take a look at this mine shaft.
Oh, there's one for our hunt log. Well, let's get those going here. We've still got our chocobo out. Maybe we could use one more. All right, here's another up there. Yeah, here we go. This must be it, the entrance to the mine shaft. 'Tis faint, but I hear something moving within. Creatures homed there by the researchers, you think? Well, slavering beasts aside, we will need to watch our footing. We should tighten our straps and such before we continue. Headgear, let's see, headgear 500. Yep, we'll want to take that as well. And that'll get rid of our eye patch there. Some kind of mask, it looks like. Assuming everyone's tightened their straps and checked their gear, then I say we head on in. Given the terrain ahead, though, it might be wise to leave some distance between us. We don't want to be stumbling over each other if it comes to a fight. Take it slow and don't forget to check your surroundings from time to time. We can meet up again at the other end of the tunnel. Oh, there's a purple glowy event point here. All right. Survey, 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 survey says. Alright, sure. I'll take you on. That one I probably should put down here somewhere else, maybe. There they are. We made it through the cave anyways. Everyone seems to have made it through without incident, nothing of consequence at least, and as promised, the tunnel has delivered us into the medial circuit. As I recall, this tier is where they keep a wide variety of samples for agricultural production. If Aaronville's assumption holds true, that specimens are being collected in preparation for a great migration, then we should see evidence of such plans in the area's research projects. Let's follow the path to the nearest farming facility and see what we see. To the northeast, wonder... Oh, it's in that cave, that's right. We'll come back for that. Some stray garlic. Ooh, yum yum. And stray tomato. Nice. An onion. Oh, okay. Aha, now I know where we are. This is Mariel Agronomics. Labyrinthus is host to a wide variety of vegetation, which allows us to conduct studies on cultivation methods utilized in foreign lands. And it is this facility which coordinates and oversees those efforts. The fruits of their research go to feed their Labyrinthus colleagues, or so I hear. More notable successes might make it to the Agora. Foods so exotic you'd be hard-pressed to guess their origin, let alone how they might taste. Indeed, mystery vegetables without a name, only a list of nutritional benefits scribbled on a card. I see no gleaners hereabouts, yet these workers seem to share that same sense of urgency. It's possible they know something of the Forum's plans and their underlying motivations. Worth looking into, wouldn't you say? Certainly. See what you can coax from the workers. The rest of us will do the same or cast about for useful clues. Oh, hello there. We weren't expecting visitors. Not with use of the lift being restricted. How did you make it down here anyway? Well, we went through a tunnel. The mine shaft, you say? Well, you're a much hardier soul than I. Under normal circumstances, I'd reward such tenacity with a guided tour of the fields, but I'm afraid the Forum has us filling order lists a mile long. Massive yet detailed requests, literal wagon loads of crop samples, and hardly any time to put them together. When I first heard of this grand reorganization, I assumed we would be shuffling around old stock to make room for the new. Then came the orders for ridiculous quantities of seeds we've already thoroughly researched. Passing strange, eh? I pressed for an explanation and was met with vague assurances that all would be revealed in due course. Not the most satisfying answer. We gotta find two more. Oh, there we go. There's two over here. An overwhelmed laborer. Do I have aught to be taken down below? More than I can carry, and then some. Most of our stock is sent off via the cargo lift, but some has been earmarked for aerial transport. Hence the stack of crates atop that hill over there. Gods, hauling the lot up that slope was a job and a half. What crops are we raising? Well, as you can see, this one is a variety of grape. Only needs a good source of sunlight to grow, and the conditions here are nothing short of perfect. Hardly surprising given that it's native to a particular locale in the very place upon which Labyrinthus was modeled, a region in the south of Ilsabard. It boasts remarkable habitat diversity, allowing for myriad flora and fauna to thrive. Chilly peaks in the north give way to swaths of temperate plains, which in turn transition into a hot, humid coastline. Such bountiful territory is ever contested, as you might expect. Used to be called Corvus before the Imperials renamed it Locus Amanus. The Forum saw it not as a prize, however, but as a researcher's ideal environment, one whose climates we strove to recreate within the confines of Labyrinthus. It's since provided a rich foundation for countless experiments in cultivation. And we need to investigate some stacked boxes next. And I think we will leave it here for today. Let's see. Yeah, we need to finish the stream for today, it looks like. So I want to wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you happen to be in the world today. And join us again. Possibly we might be doing some Infinite Undiscovery tomorrow morning, but we'll certainly be back here Tuesday morning for more Final Fantasy XIV. So take care of yourself, and I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.